Ngabe sowulungele kulawula lakho likusasa? iBotho University Eswatini campus iyathokota kumemetela lithuba leliyingqayizivele kubafundi labafise kuba ingcenye yale nyuvesi. iBotho ibhaliswe ngalokusemthethweni yaphinze yashicilelwa yi-Eswatini Higher Education Council lephinze yavula iminyango kulabo labafuna kufundzela ngekuchaswa nguhulumende ngemfundzate. Sikholelwa ekuhlomiseni idingqondo, sinakekele emathalenta nekucishisa tebungqongqoshe belikusasa lelive laseSwatini. Siqinisekisa imfundo lenebuchwephesha lobuqinisekiswa budlelwane bethu nalamanye emave emhlaba lasembili ngetebuchwephesha.
Botho University.
Vibrance, innovation.
Impact.
Good evening and welcome to Eswatini TV News at 8. I'm Lindoguhle Masugu and signing with me tonight is Zaman Zimanze. Let's take a look at the stories making headlines. His Majesty King Mswati III says the new correctional officers who have just passed out should go out there and work very hard and with diligence. The Minister of Agriculture says government has leased out over 400 hectares of land under the farm leasing program by the ministry. The Ministry of Agriculture has put together a national agricultural investment plan that has been presented to stakeholders. Well, let's get straight into the news in detail. His Majesty King Mswati III says the new correctional officers who have just passed out should go out there and work very hard and with diligence. Speaking during the Correctional Services Day and Passing Out event, His Majesty said the officers should also avoid being misled by people who have their own intentions.
His Majesty's Correctional Services always get an annual opportunity to be visited by His Majesty the King and Ingwenyama as the Commissioner General-in-Chief of the Correctional Services. On this day, the department gets to showcase its different programs and duties that they perform on a daily basis before their Majesties and the entire nation. Today, the Correctional Services celebrated its 15th Correctional Day, which is coupled with the passing out of 372 trainees. Upon arrival, His Majesty King Mswati III inspected the parade. On this day, the Correctional Services also get to display their different drills before His Majesty King Mswati III. The recruits that were passing out today took an oath of service before His Majesty and promised to perform their duty diligently. There was also an awarding of prizes to outstanding trainees who did very well during their training. The awards were presented to the best in academics, best in shooting, best in drills, well-behaved, and a resilient officer. Addressing the new officers, His Majesty commended the effort put forth by the trainees during the training and further attested that they are now ready to be deployed.
Maphoyisa nalembili la ndawo yakhona ngetindzawo lapho ndabeni deploy khona uqhubeka solo ntinika nifundza ngephoyisa be correctional services kumqoka lokusho ukuthi baye basindlela ibutwa labasembili nitinike lithuba lelifanele ekutheni lo msebenzi niwende ube kahle ni maintain le standard lesemaphoyisa la khona yalo lasibambile ukuthi ungathi wawu sekufikela balabasha base bafike bayona ukuthi nani nawubambisana nabo umsebenzi welive utozihambe kahle emaphoyisa. Sikholone ukuthi nani khona lena editation indawo uqhubeka nitinike telithuba leqhubeka ku maintainer le standard nge training nangako konke lokuhle kulamalanga ukuthi sekwaba nema technology leningawasebenzisa ukuthi empowerisha konke lokho siyakholwa ukuthi indawo wena konke ezingeni ukuthi emaphoyisa correctional services the standards sawo siqhubeke sibe sethulu kakhulu emaphoyisa. Sikholwa ukuthi njoba sinilalele emaphoyisa nithatha sifungo ukuthi nawuba ngamaphoyisa 24/7 nawubambisa live la kusinga khona lusito la ufanele wende khona lusito uyabe uuniform ungekho uniform awuya ukuthi angikho uniform ngako ke ngeke ngendene njoba seningenile namuhla kuba ngemaphoyisa kusukela namuhla wonke umsebenzi lisondvo kunini umgcibelo ngumsombuluko niyasebenta amaphoyisa ngalokubhekekile. Maphoyisa siyathandaza ukuthi nisangenela lo msebenzi na ubamba lo msebenzi ngebuqotho nangemaqiniso nigwame kulandzela emanga nemacebo nakonke lokho ngoba umuntu uphiliswa liqiniso emaphoyisa.
His Majesty also warned against ritual killings during the elections period.
Bekunene kulamalanga njengoba kunelikhetho na kunelikhetho kuyavama ukuthi bantu ngoba sive siyanqoma sinqoma abantu abanyenti bese uyawufuna indlela ukuthi kumbe nangidawufika kubantu bangibuke bese kuyawulahleka bogogo nabomkhulu nebantwana na nekuganga konke lokuba khona ukuthi leso siqwayiso asisiqwayiso ukuthi njengoba bayasebenza lapha correctional services asingabe sesiletha umsebenzi uba mkhulu kakhulu ngoba kumbe sesifuna ke ungena eParliament ngekusho ngentinyama tebantu bekunene.
His Majesty also promoted 2 officers into Deputy Commissioner Generals. The officers are Pindile Sibanze and Ephraim Twala. The Right Honourable Prime Minister, His Excellency Cleopas Dlamini, revealed that security plays a very important role in economic development. His Excellency said no investor would ever come to invest if security is affected.
Ngwenyama insecurity kulamalanga inglamanye emaphilasi lasimisa umnotho wena wekunene kude bantu abatawuda evenda kangwane batotshala imali batitshalele lapha kude khona isecurity ngako ke silo sikhulu siyakugcizelela lokuthi lo msebenzi labawuthathako namhla laba bekunene une responsibility lenkulu silo sikhulu umkhulu kakhulu bangawuthathi ube buleledi.
The Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Polile Shakantu, said today marks a day of celebrating the hard work put forth while also taking stock of the achievements made throughout the year. The Correctional Day was also attended by 12 commissioners from the continent and the African Correctional Services Association. On the news, I am Polile Mazia in Matapa.
The Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, says government has leased out over 400 hectares of land under the farming leasing program by the ministry. Mabuza says government is open to leasing farms to individuals, cooperatives and companies. Mabuza says farmers can still apply for this program.
The Ministry of Agriculture launched the farm leasing program to allow farmers to utilize land to produce for commercial purposes. The Minister for Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, says the program is a bit slow as few farmers are showing interest. Mabuza says the program is purely for providing farmers with land. Mabuza says the country needs to get to a level where there is enough food produced locally to minimize importing commodities such as maize.
Bakhona labedile bawacela emaplazi banikiwe bayawasebenzisa bayasikhicitela nje umbila kulawo maplazi labanye bakhicita inkomo lengwakhumbula nje over my head la Shiselweni balima umbila about 400 hectares if I'm not making a mistake.
Mabuza says there are hectares of land that have been leased to farmers in the Shiselweni region and Lubombo region. Mabuza says there are means to utilize Ngalashane government farm as well.
Commercialization.
Government strategic roadmap launched in 2019 clearly states that for the country to produce enough food, especially maize, all government farms need to be utilized. The Ministry of Agriculture is working on having local farmers to produce at least 140,000 metric tons of maize annually. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni Themba Shabango, Mbabane.
The Ministry of Agriculture has put together a national agricultural investment plan that has been presented to stakeholders. Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Sydney Similane, says the plan seeks to look at ways in which food security can be achieved through growth and transformation of the sector. Similane was speaking during the National Agricultural Investment Plan Consultative Workshop held in Matsapa.
The Ministry of Agriculture, in collaboration with the Food and Agricultural Organization, has put together the National Agricultural Investment Plan, which is being presented to various stakeholders. This plan is as a result of recommendations by SADC to its member states. The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Sydney Similane, says the recommendation was that governments need to allocate at least 10% of public expenditure to agriculture to ensure its efficiency and effectiveness.
Ngulowo ke lo mkhankaso ke lesiwuphushako manje ngalama National Agriculture Investment Plans ngokuthi noma singakafiki kulo 10% ku budget yethu njengasi nje Eswatini kodwa siyafuna lokuthi sihambe sifike kuye lo 10%.
Simelane says the plan also seeks to create and enhance necessary appropriate policy and institutional conditions and support system for facilitation of private investment in agriculture and agro-industry by giving local investors a chance.
Lama stakeholders afake ekhathi bosomabhizinisi, lama stakeholders afake ekhathi ema-development partners.
This is among the progress made after heads of state and government of the African Union committed to the Malabo Declaration of 2014, where a call to ensure food security was made. This call is in line with the achievement of the United Nations Sustainable Goal number 1 and 2, which speaks to ending poverty and hunger. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni, Themba Shabango, Matsapa.
Smiled as bright as sunshine were the order of the day during His Majesty's Correctional Services Day and Pass-Out Parade on Friday. Friends and relatives of new correctional officers could not hide their excitement for their loved ones and His Majesty King Mswati III gracing the event.
Ngenjabulo lenkulu kakhulu futhi ke ngikhanza ukuthi kungcono ngibonge Jehova lo ngenele la kulendzaba yempilo yami. Ubona wami umntwana ngikhamke endlini lencane kangaka.
They said that they are excited and thank God for having their relatives to be part of His Majesty's Correctional Services. They also say that they are happy for the new officers as this will go on to change their lives and those of their families. They further said that this will decrease the high youth unemployment rate of Eswatini. Eswatini TV News is Sebenele Mthethwa with Cindy Swazwane and Themba Shabango, Matapa.
The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Sydney Similane, says farmers should endeavor to increase their knowledge about the agricultural trade in order to improve their farming skills. Similane says this will help in improving food production in the country for the attainment of food security. Similane said this during the launch of the Eswatini Horticulture Information System, where vegetable and fruit farmers will be able to register and give updates on their production, as well as access markets for their produce.
The aim of this platform is to collect and disseminate relevant horticultural information which promotes transparency and visibility in horticultural production, as well as the market-led production approach amongst local producers.
The Chief Executive Officer of the National Agricultural Marketing Board, NAMBOD, Begizo Mazia, says the new Eswatini Horticultural Information System application will not only benefit farmers, but all those involved in the agriculture value chain, such as retailers and farming inputs distributors.
This will assist NAMBOD in gathering the key evidence required to control information to those products which are projected to be in oversupply locally. By registering on the system, farmers will be able to notify buyers beforehand on the expected availability of each commodity.
Russell Dlamini, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the National Disaster Management Agency, who was represented by Victor Mahlalela, says his organization seeks to avoid shortage of food in the country by all means possible. That is why they have invested in this program.
Partnership lesbenayo ne-NAMBOD ingxenye ye-bigger project lokusho ukuthi i-component lethile kule project yethu lenkulu lapho khona ibuke khona ku-developer kwe-app noma-ke i-system yokuthi balimi bakhone ukuhlangana nema-suppliers, bakhone ukuhlangana nalabo labathenga tilimo tabo.
Farmers who have undergone training on the new app have been presented with cell phones to download and use the application to their benefit. On the news, I am Mongwatube in Matapa.
Resident Director of Center for Global Health Practice Impact, Georgetown University, Dr. Samson Haumba, says girls should fully comprehend issues pertaining to their health so that they can take informed decisions and be safe from diseases. Dr. Haumba has said this through Figelepi Mazibugo, who represented him at the St. Michael's High School English Day, which was used to get feedback from the school-going girls on the recently concluded national HPV vaccine exercise.
Georgetown University has used an innovative way of getting feedback on one of its programs, that of vaccinating girls against the human papillomavirus. The organization used one of St. Michael's High School's programs to get the views.
It's basically giving us a full picture of what the adolescents are saying concerning the HPV vaccine. We have done a lot as a country when it comes to investing and ensuring that we are having a protected population, especially our girls, from cervical cancer.
Morrison Makakula, a playwright and actor, says this program helps the students to develop their art skills while discussing issues of interest.
Platform like this that is provided here at St. Michael's today, where the children showcase what they inherently have. This shows in the long run or in the future, the children will discover that they've discovered in their early years that living or working in the arts sector.
Georgetown University says going forward, they will use this method of getting feedback from their clients as it has proved to be effective. On the news, I'm Mbongwa Dube in Manzini.
Now let's take a look at the financial indicators.
This sports update is proudly brought to you by eBet. Join our family of winners by visiting us today at ebet.co.sz. eBet, born to win.
Right, we begin our sports roundup by taking a look at the 5-day referees course that took place at Thokoza in Mbabane, where the Eswatini Football Association President Peter Samora Smelane encouraged the 28 participants to put into practice what they learned.
We begin our sports roundup with the 5 days referees course that was taking place at Thokoza in Mbabane, where the Eswatini Football Association President Peter Samora Smelane encouraged the 28 participants to put into use what they have learned.
The new season is imminent, and our referees are reminded of their centrality in the envisaged successful implementation of all the football competition of the season. The Football Association has already started working on complementary intervention that will improve the practice of refereeing, in particular the creation of the environment that will ensure that stakeholders are impressed with the work of the referees.
The course facilitator, Celeste Naunjira, alongside Cedric Ndimane, who was one of the attendees during the course, highlighted that indeed it was a fruitful program to the referees.
My thanks also to the participants for your discipline, for interactions. It was fantastic for me to be with you 5 days. Of course, it was very demanding, physically, technically, also to be away from your families. But this is our job as referees, instructors. We are dedicated for football.
Here in class, a lot of new things that we've been learning, the concept that we have to go and implement in the new season, and the physical part. I'm sure today we'll be walking like chickens, but we take everything that we did there positively.
All the 28 referees received their certificate, with the number of women referees still a concern, as only 4 women referees took part of the program amongst the 28. Moving on to our international news, Morocco has become the 3rd African nation to qualify for the last 16 of the ongoing Women FIFA World Cup that is taking place in Australia and New Zealand, respectively. Other countries are South Africa and Nigeria. Lastly, Chelsea have added a new name to their squad, having secured Brighton goalkeeper Robert Sanchez, who is aged 25 and was born in Spain. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msunera, Mbabane.
The Sports was proudly brought to you by eBet. Don't hesitate. Visit us today at ebet.co.sz. eBet, born to win.
Well, that's how we reach the end of tonight's bulletin. But before we leave, here's a reminder of the top stories. His Majesty King Mswati III says the new correctional officers who have just passed out should go out there and work very hard and with diligence. The Minister of Agriculture says government has leased out over 400 hectares of land under the farm leasing program by the ministry. The Ministry of Agriculture has put together a national agricultural investment plan that has been presented to stakeholders. All right, that's it from us. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the weather forecast from all of us here as the Eswatini TV News team. It's good night.
He's John, he's a man who has a dream, but no one else knows anything about it. And